green and gold as we go in the huddle. In the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network. In the Huddle is brought to you by Mills Fleet Farm. Now, here's Bill Scott and Green Bay tight end D.J. Williams.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tanner's Sports Bar and Grill in Kimberly. Good to have you along tonight. D.J. Williams is in transit, should be here momentarily with our special guest for this evening's show, and Justin Hull, who's with us every week, will join us right from the get-go at the outset here as we talk a little Packers until DJ gets here. 38-10, the thrashing on the part of the Giants. Justin, I guess if there's one thing that really bothers me about that, it's one thing, you know, if you go to New York and lose, there's no shame in that. Going to New York and losing 38-10 is the real issue. That kind of bites pretty hard. And then to hear some players afterwards saying that they didn't play with enough emotion and, you know, things like that, that bothers me, because that's the thing. I mean, right now, theoretically, they're tied with the Giants, and the Giants own the tiebreaker.
It's
you know,
tough.
I mean, that was a big game, and they went in there and lost big time.
It's a tough spot to be in too, and you know, we were talking beforehand, and I'm not making any excuses for Green Bay with this one, but it's kind of the nature of the NFL. I mean, Houston was blown out by Green Bay, a good team. Baltimore's got 2 losses on the year. One of their losses, I mean, they got destroyed by Houston. The Giants looked foolish against Cincinnati a couple of weeks back. They beat up on San Francisco, who's a really good team. It's kind of though I don't want to say the way that the NFL has gone, but it's like every team seems to go through that embarrassing loss, that embarrassing game that kind of refocuses them. And maybe, you know, this was just kind of, I don't want to say cashed it in or anything like that, but by halftime, it was kind of the feeling like, okay, get out of here healthy and go into next week and use that as a refocusing tool. Well,
there was a point in time in the game in the second half where Mike McCarthy started to kind of dial down the types of plays that he was calling, and he came right out and said afterwards, he said, I feared for my quarterback. And I don't ever recall there being a time where he was afraid to call a play because he didn't like the protection his quarterback was getting. But he definitely thought yesterday that continuing to go all out, down 28 points, trying to come back in an atmosphere like that he might have been putting his quarterback's health at risk.
Yeah, I think it was a good decision. I mean, they put Graham Harrell in with, 5 minutes left in the game. But there's the concern with the offensive line, at least in my eyes, is the 5 you have out there, you really have no other choice. I mean, there's not a guy that's sitting out in the free agent market that you can bring in that's going to be better. You don't have a young, experienced guy that you can maybe give a go at it to try to work him in there with Van Roten and Don Barclay being the 2 backups. Those are the 5 that are going to be in there the rest of the way, and if they don't get their act together, Aaron Rodgers is going to continue to get hit in that way.
Well, I think the only solution is that defensively, you know, Matthews, I don't think is going to be back yet this week, but probably, you know, there's a chance in 2 weeks, definitely 3 weeks, kind of the timetable we're getting.
That's the Chicago game, by the way, definitely 3 weeks.
Yeah, you know, so, you know, that's going to happen at some point. Woodson is supposedly ahead of schedule. I mean, these guys are going to have, in big games, the defense is going to have to do its share, because the offensive line, when they're, I mean, I don't know how anybody can have any confidence in this offensive line when you're playing a team like the New York Giants. The Giants just get after it.
You look at the defense, though, there have been those games this year that we have seen them step up in wake of the offense struggling. The Chicago game, the first one. I mean, yeah, Green Bay scored 23 points. 7 of that was on a fake field goal, 3 field goals in that. The Detroit game last week really comes to mind, too, where the defense stepped up and made some plays. So they have that ability to do that. It's just, last night, I don't know if they had a little bit of what the offense was taking, but there's not many positives that come from last night's game.
No, there wasn't. And I'm still going to – I agree with you most of the way on that, but I think last week I really believe that the Packers' defense – the Packers, the coaches were praising their own defense, and I don't know if they're watching the same game I was watching, because all I saw was Matthew Stafford throwing to empty spots on the field where there weren't any receivers. He played a terrible football game, and if he plays, just – one iota better, they probably win.
I think the difference with that is they made a couple of big plays where Desmond Moses made the fumble recovery, had the nice play on Stafford before the end of the half. MD Jennings had the interception return for a touchdown. So when you can make a couple of plays like that, it can sometimes turn an average defense into what looks like a good defense. And those two, 3 plays are the difference in a game.
Good point. And it's what they didn't do yesterday.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yesterday they had balls in their hands. Craig Newsome had a chance at an interception. And
Casey
Hayward, I'm sorry. Craig Newsome, that's going back a ways, isn't
way
it?
Back.
Casey Hayward had an interception in his hands and didn't make the play. They had a couple of muff punts that the Packers had opportunities to recover and just didn't make the play.
It was like early in the season when they were struggling against Seattle. There was a couple of interceptions that weren't in their hands. Trying to think of the other early games there, but there was a few, because I know we've talked about this in the past. If you come up with those interceptions, they're game-changing plays. And not saying last night would have been different, but it may not have been 38-10.
Poor tackling kind of reared its ugly head again in this game. It has not been much of an issue this season. They've been a better tackling team this year, but it just didn't quite go that way last night.
Something about the Giants receiver. I don't know if it's the blue jerseys that's the kryptonite of Green Bay Packer defenders or what, but Hakeem Nicks, Victor Cruz breaking tackles in the open field, Martellus Bennett, and Ahmad Bradshaw. Boy, he's not had a good year, let's just say that, and he looked like an all-pro last night.
Well, I think part of the deal, too, is when you get guys like that, Bennett and Bradshaw, who's a fairly big back for a tailback, and Brown, who got hurt yesterday, but he had a pretty big first 3 quarters prior to his injury for the Giants. These guys were getting into the secondary.
Yeah.
And so that means the front guys weren't getting bodies on these guys. And when you get some of those bigger, faster type players that Giants have, and they get a full head of steam into the secondary, there's a definite weight disadvantage that you're looking at. And quite frankly, I thought that the Packers defensive backs took a couple of shortcuts. They kind of checked out before the play was there.
It's easier for Ryan Pickett and B.J. Raji to sandwich somebody than it is for a one-on-one with Casey Hayward, because one stiff arm or one juke move the other way, and he's running even further down the field. That tackle's not getting made.
Now, 61-yard touchdown pass to Jordy Nelson. And
that was about it.
And that evened things up. But, you had to believe at that point that, it was looking like it was going to be pretty good.
Looking like it was going to be a shootout. 38-35, very entertaining, but it was in bed by halftime for a lot of people.
Didn't work out that way, did it? All right, we hope to have our guest and DJ Williams here momentarily. Lenny taking his sweet old time down Highway 41. Come on, Lenny, put it in gear, all right? We'll be back with more in the huddle from Tanners and Kimberly after this on the Woodward Radio Network. And we are back at Tanner's Sports Bar and Grill in Kimberly. Good to have you along. Transportation for our guests during the season brought to you by L&S Classic Limousine Service. Personal, professional service for all occasions. Call Lenny or Sue at 920-730-8297. Our guest tonight, first of all, welcome, DJ.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good to have you.
Good to be here.
All right. Hey, I saw you make the first special teams tackle of the game yesterday.
That? Yeah,
I did.
Running out there, it was exciting.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, you played well. You were kind of all over the TV screen last night when you were on the field.
I guess that's good. I guess not good since we lost, but
yeah, that's sometimes it's got to be about you though. Once in a while, I mean, when you're getting your butt kicked, you got to look at something positive, right?
Very true. My mom said I look good on TV.
There you
so
go. See?
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So more than one person noticed. That's good. And if your mother doesn't notice, then you know something's wrong.
Something's very wrong.
Yeah. All right. Our guest tonight is in his rookie season out of the University of Iowa. 4th-round draft pick this year's draft class. He is Mike Daniels. 7 tackles, 2 quarterback sacks, a couple of tackles yesterday against the Giants or last night. Mike, welcome. Good to have you on the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, tell me about your rookie year.
I mean, it's been great. You got vets like DJ, and I'm not just saying this, because it's his show, but got guys like DJ. They welcome you with open arms to help you out. And I'm gonna say DJ again because my first time in the weight room, he was in there, and I saw him boxing on the speed bag, and I said, man, how do you do that? And he taught me the fundamentals behind getting in the speed bag. Boxing and martial arts is something I really take a lot of interest in, especially being a defensive lineman. So I really took that, and I've been working on it. And every time I see DJ in there, I just look and go like, man, I don't think I'll ever be that good.
Yeah.
But
he's there now. He's good. He's good now. He about knocks it off every time he hits it. He doesn't understand. Sometimes you have to have some finesse to hit that thing and look a little. He doesn't get that. I mean, I guess that's good since he's a defensive tackle, but he picked it up pretty easy.
BJ Raji does that too, doesn't he? Didn't he do some sort of boxing training in the off season?
I'm sure he does. BJ does all types of stuff to improve his game, and like that's what I was saying about the vets we have on this team. They not only they welcome you with open arms, but they're great examples, great leaders, and you can really see why Green Bay has had a lot of success in the past because of the type of guys they draft.
Everybody in this room is gonna forgive the fact that you played at Iowa because you didn't know any better. You were from New Jersey to begin with, so.
I definitely made the right decision.
Are they in the Wisconsin conference or something like that?
Yeah, they're in the Big Ten, in Wisconsin and Iowa.
Is that even a conference worth even talking about?
Yeah, well.
Sorry, I'm from the SEC. Yeah. You know, that's how we roll.
Seeing as how Arkansas is so bad, they had to fire their coach. You know.
I mean, you can't. I mean, the SEC has had some great success nationally. So I mean, you can't say anything about it.
What's the Wisconsin in your mind? What's the Wisconsin-Iowa rivalry like?
I mean, you get two teams that they're the same. You know, recruit the same, get the same type of players, the same type of kids. Scheme is the same. Both take pride in two back, one tight end offense system, pound the ball, strong up front, strong offensive line, strong defensive line, disciplined linebackers. I mean, it's just a real
boring.
Yeah. I mean, it is boring.
Physical smash mouth football.
You go out there and get your teeth knocked out, you know, like they usually do against us. They're not too boring then.
The SEC, you got to be able to catch us first.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. If you guys would slow down, you'd feel it. Trust me.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
We just get
if you just let a Big Ten team just put a big hit on you, you'd feel it. You know what it's all about.
Fair enough. Sometimes I might like that. You know what I mean?
Your senior season at Iowa was your best season. And it's always nice when it happens that way. 13 games, you started all of them, finished with a career-high 67 tackles, 9 sacks. That was third in the Big Ten and 24th nationally. Now, I was reading your bio today, and you said, in the bio, it said that you were an undersized
Hulk, like a little mini Hulk.
Undersized defensive lineman. And I'd take one look at you and stand next to you. There's nothing undersized about you.
Well, I mean, you guys just had, since we're talking about Big Ten, Wisconsin, you guys just had J.J. Watt. He's about 6'6".
Yeah.
And usually a lot of he plays for the Texans now. You can't clap for him.
He dominated us. He's pretty good.
Right. Just let's not do that.
Wisconsin.
But yeah, he's a very good player. I respect him a lot.
Me too.
But most defensive linemen are, I mean, some undersized linemen were guys that were 6'2". I'm 6 foot, so. I'm well below the bar for what a lot of people look for when they. I mean, everybody says I'm short, and
I never really understood why size matters to especially a defensive and offensive lineman. No, seriously, because you always hear about when it comes to technique, they always say the low man wins. And if you're already low, you know what I mean. What are you like 5'3", going against a 6'8" offensive lineman?
I'm more like 6 foot. Like
all right, 6 foot. My bad. Okay, 5'8". And getting underneath their pads, you win every time. And this guy's strong. I mean, they're strong, and then there's Mike Daniels strong. It's a different kind of strong.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. There was a definite need on this football team at that defensive end position, and now there's Mike, there's Worthy, there's Neal. I mean,
three Big Ten guys.
The grouping, the grouping over there as a whole. I mean, 3 guys kind of filling one spot has been very productive this year.
Yeah, it's very exciting to watch. Very tough to practice against, especially in camp. That's when we really go full tilt against each other. And just talking more about Mike, he's that guy that all the offensive linemen are just like, if you get a chance, just blow his knee out, because he just keeps coming. He just keeps coming and coming and coming, and especially, old veterans, they don't like practicing too much at all. When you get someone like him just blowing them out of the water, I think you pancaked somebody the other. What was that? Who'd you pancake the other time in practice?
I pancaked a couple people.
A couple people. Big
I don't know. It was some, might have been some few of the rookies who aren't here anymore, but you know, not too many of our old linemen get pancaked in practice.
But it's good to see, because you know our knack last year was our defense and our offense was rolling, and it's kind of like we just switched roles, and so it's good to know that our defense can help our offense out this year.
Now how do you, when you come in your rookie year and you're trying to make an impression in mini camps and then eventually training camp, and you want to get out there and you want to hit people, yet there's not a lot of hitting that goes on in training camp practices, at least by design, when you're scrimmaging and so forth. There's got to be a fine line. I mean, you want to play physical. You want to show the coach what you can do, and yet those opportunities are limited. Do you kind of cross the line? How many times you cross the line in training camp?
Me?
Yeah.
Any chance I can.
Any chance?
Yeah. Because when the season comes, we're going to get a fit, take a couple steps, and then run to the ball. I mean, when camp is when you're trying to weed people out, see who really wants to play ball or not. Just get out there and get after it. Camp, you got to hate each other. I mean,
and they do hate each other.
During camp, they're the Chicago Bears, they're the Detroit Lions, they're the freaking New York Giants. So.
I'm glad you said freaking.
Yeah. He took his time.
See, now I'm looking at TV now. We're in the wild card spot.
That's crazy.
All right, but anyway, like I said, in camp is when you really have to get after it, and in practice, you have to find your fits and get ready for the week. It's only 3 of us. We need to take care of each other.
Setting impressions in camp, I'll tell you, the big fight. You remember the big fight between the offensive line and the defensive line? Because I remember they were getting after it. Usually, offensive player gets in a fight, everybody on offense has their back. Same thing with defense. Well, the linemen started going. At first, it was like a little scrum, so I'm running in there like, okay, who am I finna go get? And then I started looking around, but all these big bodies, I was like, I'm gonna sit this one out. You could see all the other skill positions just kind of work their way back and just let these big 300-pound men just throwing each other around. It was fun to watch. Usually I don't. I really actually never jumped in a fight. I usually just.
You're a lover, not a fighter. Come on.
I like watching.
At least that's what you tell us every week.
Something like that.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, more with Mike Neal and I'm Mike Neal. Mike Daniels. My apologies. Mike Daniels and look out! I'm out the door. All right, we're back with more after this on the Woodward Radio Network. We are back here at Tanner's Sports Bar and Grill in Kimberly. Good to have you along here. Our program tonight and every night is brought to you by Mills Fleet Farm. Back with DJ Williams and our special guest, rookie defensive end Mike Daniels out of the University of Iowa.
All right.
DJ says during the break, when are you going to ask us about this game? I know it's coming. When are you going to ask? We kind of covered it before you got here.
Oh, you did?
A little bit, but I'll give you the. I'll let you give us the short version.
Sheesh.
Obviously, it was a pretty frustrating game, so give me your 2 cents worth.
I mean, I guess you got to call it like it is. We just got our butts whipped. Can't take anything away from the Giants. They played exceptionally well. Their front four on the defensive line, they played very impressive, and they made plays on offense, and it's almost like we didn't show up to play, but you can't say that at the same time, take anything away from them and what they did. But it's kind of like we kind of almost wanted to just start that game over, and now we can't wait to play them again. Now we know the only way to play them is in the playoffs, and so hopefully we get another chance at them and not let that happen.
Let me ask you about the cover two, and kind of explain that for the folks out in the audience and back home listening on the radio, and when it's being as effective as it is for the defense, what are your options? What can you do to try to get through that?
Well, cover two is basically making it very difficult to pass the ball because you have 2 deep safeties and you have a whole bunch of people, linebackers and nickel backs or whatever you may call them, covering all the short routes. And the way to really get them out of cover two defense is a good running game and the short routes. And I want to say, you know, we were running the ball okay. It's very difficult to run against that defensive line because they're all huge and freaks of nature. And when it comes to passing the ball in the middle of the field, they were very uncharacteristic or very disciplined about how they played their cover two. They would leave some receivers wide open. I think they would show the cover two look because Aaron, he can see it as soon as he snaps the ball, and he knows where everyone on defense is supposed to be. And sometimes they would show the cover two look and leave certain receivers wide open because they know Aaron knows where they're supposed to be and where he's not going to throw the ball. I think that's what happened on that first interception with Randall, because if you go back and watch on the TV copy, James Jones was sitting outside wide open because he was supposed to be covered. And so, I mean, I guess they had a good game plan, and I guess we just need to pick up our running game to get teams out of playing this cover two. Detroit did the same thing.
On that interception, Rodgers was under center. He's been under center more lately, the last couple of games. Normally, he's always shotgun. When you're passing, he's always shotgun. And I'm guessing that's to make play action work better. But could that be one of the reasons why he didn't see that guy? Because maybe, you know, he's under center, he's down getting the snap. Yeah. He's coming out of there, his head's down for just a short period of time.
That may be it, because, like I said, it's unbelievable how he can be under center, snap the ball, and look maybe with one eye to the left with what two guys are doing and know what everyone on the defense is supposed to do by rule. And like I said, they broke that rule a couple times last night and got us into a little bit of trouble. And so, like I said, knowing Aaron, if we play them again, I'm pretty sure that won't happen the way that it did Sunday night. But it was a very tough game Sunday night, especially towards the end of the game when it kind of started wrapping up, knowing we were going to lose. But one thing that Aaron did do, he pulled us all together before the end of the game. I think it was towards the middle of the fourth when you kind of knew what direction the game was headed.
Right.
And he was saying, don't let anyone, you know, pull us apart. You know, sometimes you may be mad at this person, mad at that person. Understand we are a team, and this is just a situation built with adversity that we need to overcome, or we're going to become better for it. And I think that was awesome that he did it. It showed the leadership that he has, and he made sure that no one, you know, on that sideline was going to, you know, tear apart away from the team. He kept us all together.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the message that he gave us. Yeah. It was pretty cool and great seeing him doing that.
Now, Mike, I'll ask you this, because in college sports, professional sports, you generally have to get over the loss or the win very quickly and move on, and you start thinking about the next opponent. You make your corrections, you watch your film, and now you're thinking about the next one. Hard to do with this one. I mean, do you want to have this one a little bit in your mind as a constant reminder and a motivator of what you don't want to ever happen again?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you have to have a short memory in terms of moving forward, like not letting things affect you negatively. You have a great game, you can't right off that high into the next game just saying, oh, we just going to roll the ball out there and play well because we did last week. No. You can't let a negative game, you can't let the same team beat you twice. So you have to move forward from there, but you can't ever forget. You know, you definitely have to learn from the mistakes, make the corrections. I know there's things I know I could have done well in the game, and there's things I've done in the game that I'm not going to do again moving forward, because I mean, we want and we need to have better results in the future.
I'll tell you the crazy thing, and I probably shouldn't say, but I will anyway. You know me, I don't care. But, you know, I mean, a loss is, you know, devastating and everything, but it's not the playoffs, you know what I mean? And we got these division games coming up, you know, and yeah, we lost to the Giants, but like you said, you can't think about that at all. We need to win these division games, put ourselves in the playoffs, because as we all know from last year, you can win 15 games in the regular season and lose one in the playoffs, and the season almost means nothing. So I think that's our biggest lesson that we learned from last year, and we still are holding on to. And so like I said, once we get back home in front of our crowd, we'll get this ball rolling once again. We just won 5 in a row. We had one little hiccup. We're just fine. We're not in panic mode or anything, and can't wait to play them Vikings.
5 out of 6 in baseball would be pretty good.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
So it should be the same in football, right?
Something like that. Don't worry. You know.
Back to Mike Daniels. Mike, one of 6 defensive players taken with the first 6 picks in the draft by the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, there was a need that was identified by the organization. they went out and got the 6 best defensive players that they felt would fit their mold and improve the various positions. What were your thoughts when that was all identified to you, and is there a pressure that goes along with that, this is where the defense was and we need to get a lot better, and you're the guy, you're one of the 6 that they're asking to make that move, plus guys like Desmond Moses who were undrafted free agents?
I mean, if you're a football player, you're not going to feel the pressure. I mean, if this is what you love to do, this is what you enjoy to do. Like Randall, he's going to say in the big moment, hey, give me the ball. When I'm out on the field, I'm like, hey, run my way so I can stop it. Randall says, give me the ball so I can score. So, I mean, some people call it pressure. We call it opportunities.
I like that.
Extended season now. Everybody always likes to ask you, the NFL season is longer than a college season. Everybody expects you to kind of hit that wall a little bit. Does that happen? Does it really happen, or is that just all talk?
It's talk. I mean, well,
DJ's got a different answer.
Granted, I spent the whole off season rehabbing and trying to get my shoulder back together. So I didn't go through the combine training, and I didn't participate in the combine. I didn't do OTAs or mini camp, so didn't do rookie mini camp. So I can't really speak on it. But looking around at the other rookies who did go through all that stuff, I mean, they look better now than they did game 1.
I completely believe in that rookie wall. I mean, after doing 13, what week are we in, 12, 11, seeing the same ugly faces every day. I wake up at 5:30 and have to go to work and watch film and see what terrible I did and how to make it better. And then after I do that, watch it and tell me how terrible it was again. And then
they don't usually point out the good things, do they?
No, they really don't.
It's just the bad things.
And then you wake up, get there, the sun's not out, you leave, the sun's still not out, so it's always dark, and then I go to sleep. But I did put my Christmas decorations up, so that's a little bit of highlight in my life right now. A lot of lights in my room and reindeer. I got little gingerbread men sitting in my kitchen. They're everywhere. It's unbelievable. I got to take some pictures and show you. And
I would love to see them.
Yeah, wake up the next morning and do it all over again. That's good.
We'll have to hear more about that. But you know what time it is, though?
Email segment.
It is email segment time, brought to you by Granite Peak Ski Area. We'll be back with that. Justin Hall joins us. More on the Woodward Radio Network. Back at Tanner's in Kimberly, our program brought to you tonight by Mills Fleet Farm. DJ Williams and Mike Daniels with us. Time now for our Granite Peak emails segment. With the ski season fast approaching, Granite Peak Ski Area is gearing up for an incredible winter. New this year, Granite Peak welcomes a new high-speed quad lift, whisking you up the mountain 3 times faster. Approximately 80% of the terrain now serviced with 2 high-speed chairlifts. So bring your friends, bring your family, enjoy winter at Granite Peak. With the holidays just around the corner, give the gift of winter, Granite Peak ski gift cards. To order online and for a complete list of events and specials, visit skigranitepeak.com. Let's get right out to Justin Hall.
All right, inthehuddleshow.com. That's the website each and every week where you can submit your questions for DJ and his guest. And go ahead, the first question is for you, Mike. You guys kind of hit on this earlier. I'm going to reword it so it's nice. Does a 7-5 Wisconsin team deserve to be playing for a Big Ten championship?
I mean, if they're playing in the Big Ten championship,
yes,
then they deserve it.
That's the way to put it. Yeah. I want to say one thing.
I mean, I didn't know if there's any other way to put it.
I don't know if there's a real good way to put it.
It is what it is, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
See, I wanted to bring up, Trent Richardson from Alabama today.
Yeah.
He had one of the best quotes yesterday.
What did he say?
When he said the Pittsburgh Steelers are one of the goodest franchises
in
the NFL.
Yeah.
SEC, yeah? No? Okay, I'm sorry.
I mean, you already know me
like
and
that,
how my capabilities of, literature and how to read.
In their defense, we have a couple guys on the team from the SEC, and I haven't heard any of them say goodest. So.
What was wrong with that?
Goodest?
Yeah. Oh, is that what we're talking about?
I don't know.
I thought you were supposed to say bestest.
Bestest?
Yeah.
I've used that before.
Yeah?
Most bestest? That's the best.
Yeah, most bestest, for sure. What are they talking about?
Well, You'll like this one, DJ. This one comes from Janine in Appleton. With your hat, you resemble Darius Rucker. Hootie from Hootie and the Blowfish, do you ever get mistaken for him?
I get that all the time. My buddy's laughing because I literally get that all the time. I was at Arkansas. You know, Walmart puts on this big convention every year, and they get big people. Walmart started in Arkansas, by the way. Anyway, so they get anyone to come because they say if you don't come perform, then we just won't put your CDs on the shelf. So they got that pull like that. And they had Darius Rucker come. And I was sitting outside. I had a hat on, just chilling, you know. And then, of course, it had a little groupie love. You know, some people coming up. Is that who I think it is? You know, I thought it was going to be the typical, hey, DJ, how are you doing? And some guy, are you Darius Rucker? Oh. You know, just, you know, me, you know, I'm just like saying, you know, I only want to be with you, you know, just saying that type thing. I'll make it work.
Are you
a little Hootie? That's back in the Hootie days.
I
right?
bet if you, you know, though, you get those things on the internet, and it's always like the people of Walmart. You know what I'm talking about? You know, the people of Walmart.
4 words.
You think DJ is in any of those?
What's the people of Walmart? I don't even know what that is.
That's all right. I'll tell you later.
Google people of Walmart. Yeah. You'll enjoy it. The question, by the way, went on to compliment you on your chiseled good looks, by the way. So
chiseled?
Yeah.
I like that. Appreciate it. Steroids are paying off.
Like that one. Next question coming from Jeremy for both of you. Did you do any Black Friday shopping, and what are some of your family traditions for Christmas?
I was looking at you.
I don't really have very many traditions for Christmas. I mean, what? Open a present up on New Year's Eve, or not New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve. I don't know. We really didn't. I'm a big Christmas nut myself. Maybe I'll start some when I have a family. So, you know, when I find my soulmate, whatever that may be, you know, and I don't know what my Christmas
pace you're going, it's going to be a long time.
Yeah. I don't know. I did tell you I met someone when I was out in New York. Oh, she was beautiful. I mean, I think I may go ahead
and man,
ready to
being from that area, you being a nice boy from the good old country, you might want to watch out.
Watch out.
Yeah.
You only live once, right? You know what I mean?
I just don't want to see you, you know,
I met her, when was I met her Saturday. I'm ready to go ahead and just settle down. I'm ready.
And that's exactly what I was referring to. But as for me and Christmas, since that's the only part of the question I remember for some reason, I just remember we used to always go to my aunt's house and eat. So won't be doing that this year, but I'll make sure I call over there and make my rounds, you know, just make sure everybody's enjoying their Christmas.
What was your favorite Christmas gift?
My favorite Christmas gift? It's probably PlayStation.
PlayStation?
Have to be PlayStation.
Mine was someone I gave to someone else. This was when I was a kid. And there was this black motorcycle. When you push down on the back of it, it like revved up the engine, I'm sorry. And I was supposed to give it to someone else. It didn't happen. You know what I mean? Definitely kept that one.
It was too cool to give it away, huh?
Way too cool. I don't know what I was saying.
Still have that today, right?
I don't. I wish I did.
Mine was a Bart Starr jersey, but it doesn't fit anymore. So.
No, it doesn't. Jeez. I wonder why.
All right. Next question's actually in-house for Mike. We want to ask Mike about playing at Iowa. We're here in Kimberly, Tanner's, and Mike Hardy actually played his high school ball here at Kimberly. You have any good Mike Hardy stories you can share for us?
Mike, he's pretty reserved. He's quiet, but you know, Mike comes to work. You know, he's one of those 6'5" defensive linemen I was referring to, and you know, I had 2 years to teach Mike some things. You know, amongst some other freshmen. You know, I used to take those guys with me to do some taekwondo work and whatnot. But you know, he's a smart football player. He's a good kid. You know, he'll do some things in the future. Mike Hardy looks a little bit like J.J. Watt too. He really does. Yeah. Really, we actually said that when we saw J.J. Watt. I was like, man, it looks like that freshman we got, doesn't it?
J.J. Watt. All right, we'll be back. We'll let you know who our winner is. Our Granite Peak email segment. And we've got one more segment to go here from Tanner's and Kimberly. In the Huddle continues after this on the Woodward Radio Network. Back at Tanner's Sports Bar and Grill in Kimberly, our final segment brought to you by Mills Fleet Farm. Back with DJ Williams and Mike Daniels, and time to announce our Granite Peak email contest winner during our last segment. Back out to Justin Hull.
We'll go with Janine, who had the question about the Darius Rucker look-alike. And go ahead and set you up with the ski package.
All right, congratulations.
You and your chiseled good looks.
Yeah.
I really like that. That's a big confidence boost. Appreciate that.
The national anthem at yesterday's game performed by an 11-year-old.
Annie, right?
Yeah, she was. She's Annie in Broadway.
Did not have red hair. I don't know what that was about.
Real name?
Give her red hair.
Lilia Crawford. Was she pretty good?
Oh, she was exceptional.
Very good.
What's the word I'm looking for? Exceptional.
I don't know what. I'd never heard of that word.
Exceptional.
Oh, exceptional. That's what you're shooting for.
That Arkansas thing again.
All right. Hey, did you see the Indomikong Sioux kick to the groin on Matt Schaub?
Ah.
Did you think it was a kick to the groin, or did you think it was on accident?
What do you think, Mike?
I didn't think it was a kick, but I mean, his reputation, they're going to make it bigger than what it is.
Okay.
So.
Definitely a kick. I mean, I like it. I mean, I'm glad he didn't kick me in my stuff, you know. But
San Francisco going with Colin Kaepernick over Alex Smith. He's now 2-0 after beating the Saints 31-21 on the road yesterday. Where do you guys come down with the starters that lose their starting job when they get hurt?
that one blows my mind. I mean, I think with the way San Fran's been playing, one of the best teams in the NFL for 2 years straight now, and I want to say Alex Smith has had like the second highest passer rating in the NFL, and for him to go down and for them to have question of who the starter should be is just, I think it's unfair to Alex, but in the same time, you know, the way that Kaepernick's been playing has been exceptional, but for him to be put in a playoff situation, that'll be very interesting to see if they get to that point.
Mike, what do you think?
You know, I mean, it's the NFL. Like, crazy things happen every week. You know, I mean, I really don't. Really not much. I haven't really been paying much attention to it, but I mean, it's about as much I gotta say about it. You know, it's like I said. I mean, crazy things happen every week.
Yeah.
You know, something crazy gonna happen next week, the week after, next year, year after, a decade from now. It's just how the business is.
Yeah, I think there's two things to it, and it can be very fragile in the locker room. Is how do the rest of the players, especially the veteran players, how do they respond to that? Do they revolt? Do they stand with the coach? Does that become an issue? And that's always something that the coach has to seriously consider when he makes a move like that.
And I think since it was such a huge deal, I think there may be something that the media has not put out there that we have no idea about that's putting him in that starting position. So maybe there's something we don't know that's making him play as much as he is. If not, then like I said, I feel sorry for Alex Smith.
Yeah, and then the other part of it is, you know, it's the head coach's responsibility to put what he believes to be the player on the field that gives them best chance to win and win the big one.
Yeah, very true.
And he may think that Kaepernick gives him that best opportunity.
Well,
but
power to him, yeah.
Yeah. Did you see any highlights of the most beautiful bald people on the planet in Indianapolis yesterday?
Oh yeah, I was thinking all about all
you know
kind
what I'm
of
talking
people
about?
bald. I was thinking like Demi Moore in that, what was that, G.I. Jane movie? Oh, she was so sexy. Oh, well, you remember that?
Yeah, the Colts cheerleaders.
She looked like Demi Moore. I
Some
saw
of
that
them,
yesterday.
yeah,
That's
some
why
of
it
them had
reminded
their
me of it.
head
Yeah.
shaved.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like it. You know what I mean?
Chuck Pagano was at the stadium.
Were they?
They did it in support of.
Okay, but she wasn't. She didn't have cancer. She just said that's awesome.
No,
Or
they
did?
did it. There's 4, 5, 6 of them, maybe more, but that I saw that did it in support.
Yeah,
of
I
Chuck
think it's
Pagano.
awesome. I had a very close friend of mine that got diagnosed with cancer, and she went through chemo and lost her hair, and it was so tough for her. And when she sees people like that who are willing to, not put a rag or wear a wig, it's so inspirational and so motivating, and it just gives people that hope that things will get better and not worry about looking different. It's about who you are and not what you look like, and I think that was awesome that they displayed that on national television.
Mike, are you looking forward to your first shot at Adrian Peterson?
Oh, of course. I get to see him for twice a year.
You're gonna do more than see him. You're gonna feel him. You know what I mean? Or is he gonna feel you?
Well,
not in a homosexual way, but
I'll
probably
wait for
I'm glad you cleared that up.
I'll wait for the game, to speak. You know, I left my play to speak for that one, but
I can't wait.
you know, you see a guy like that. You know, they say looks like he's screaming when he's running. I'm screaming when I'm playing, so I'll look forward to getting an opportunity to him. You know, lock up with him.
Does he really? He screams when he runs?
It looks like it.
He screams when he runs, though. He screams, yeah.
I do. So, you can't help but when you see a guy like that, when you see him running, it's like he's running. He's clearly running with a purpose, and that purpose ain't just to score a touchdown. You know, he's like a horse out there, and I mean, he's. I think if he was running, and he died while he was running, he'd be happy because that's how much he's given into his craft, and I respect that so much. I look forward to playing against somebody like that.
And you, DJ, this is your assignment for the week.
What's that? Tackle Adrian Peterson?
No, I want you to, while somebody's engaged with Jared Allen, I want you to pop him so hard in the side of the ribs that he thinks twice about rushing a quarterback.
I know. I'm gonna talk to him, talk about his mama, and talk about all kind of stuff. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get after him.
Mike, it's been a pleasure. Good luck to you. Thank you very much, Mike Daniels, ladies and gentlemen, and TJ Smith. We'll see you next week. Packers and Vikings, go Pack! We'll see you next time on the Woodward Radio Network.